Take one and light it, 'cause it's a lot to figure out. Know what I'm hiding, but I don't want us falling out. It's not what I thought it was. See where I'm coming from. I take one and light it to stop myself from spinning out. Rolling my mind, so I might try changing my mind, but it's not right. Couple bad nights, wasting my time. Just let it bring up. Step, go, step, go. Just let it bring up. Let go, step, go. Just let it bring up. Step, go, step, go. Just let it.
All right, what's up, y'all? What's happening? What's good? What's good? I can't get my camera going. Not sure what's up with it. So gonna go without the camera, I think, for now. Oh, there we go. I guess we're good now. Interesting. All right, awesome. How's everyone doing? What's the word? How we feeling, guys? All right, let's get into it. Off the rip, let's just dive right in. What are we feeling? How are we seeing things? What's the market look like? We got a couple minutes for New York here, so I want to get right into it. I'm not going to go into metals right now. There's been a lot of opportunities for metals, but we'll get back into it. Oil had a nice reaction off of the zone right here. Oh, it just came back down. Oh, man, I wasn't looking at it here just recently. So the buy did end up playing out of here. Again, not sure if you guys were in there. But with that being said, let's get a good look at these indices. They've been absolutely on fire. Right? On fire. I think you flipped them, the Nas and the Dow. But I mean, I get what you mean. So right now, we're seeing absolutely insane bullish price action with indices. NQ here ripping, continuing its momentum to the upside. After yesterday, it was, I dropped it in the community. We were taking some L's, and I made a whole post about it. And then we're able to just absolutely rip with the NQ buy and make the most out of this. So right here, we took the buy, rode it all the way over to here. So it was really cool to see. And then with dollar news right now, it could be volatile. Doesn't seem like it's extremely volatile. Maybe it's not going to influence indices as much. Maybe it's more of a dollar thing that there's a bit more volatility with US dollar. So, we got that going on, NQ, S&P. And then if we take a look at Dow, Dow sells. I don't see that. Don't really see the Dow sells unless maybe you sold out of here. I could kind of see that. Like we see the market clear over here. Market takes out tons of liquidity, plays into this imbalance, and then quickly starts to lose momentum. It worked its way down into structure. So the break and retest, this typically lures in retail buyers. And then, from here, I mean, I guess we could see something. See a little something. Okay. So this is, luring in more buyers, more support here. Comes back up into this range all the way over to here. And then, I guess I could see like a shakeout with all of these buyers in here. And then you're looking for sells. I don't see another entry model in here. Looks like London creating highs. So, yeah. All right. Oh, you're not in anything yet. Okay. You're looking for something higher. Got it. That makes more sense to me. So, cool. I was like, what is this guy seeing? All right. So with the way the market's moving right now, I'm not really in a rush to take anything here. So we can zoom out, right? Where on these higher time frames is the market trading down to? And it's funny because every time, like, no one talks about like the market being bearish, things are about to crash, until it's like getting way lower, and then they're like, everything's gonna go down and things are going. It's like, no. So Dow, S&P, and NQ. NQ has now filled the gap, trading a bit higher. You have a nice sweep to the upside here before everything crashed down. So there could be selling opportunities here. We'll have to zoom in a little more to just fully make sure that there is a liquidity capture and nothing happened here in the small time frames. So whenever you see something like this on like a 1 hour 15, go over to this, use the replay tool and start to zoom in, right? See if there's a bit more detail here. SMT, I never studied ICT. I think that's an ICT term, SMT. So I'm not really sure. Like, I've been trading smart money, I guess my own version of it, since 2018. So I don't know the terminology that same way. Is that some sort of divergence? I'll give you my perspective here in a bit between indices. So higher time frame though, we see smart money come in, clear these highs. So it takes out London highs back in January, and then from here we just crash down. So we 100% see everything start to just bleed out from over here, and we haven't quite got back to this. So NQ definitely has incentive to reject from these prices over here. Now, what we want to keep in mind when we're looking at this area is how we approach this, right? You know that NASDAQ, S&P, and Dow Jones, they move relatively similar, right? They're correlated assets. The only difference really is that there's going to be days, sometimes just hours, where there's one with more momentum. Right? There's one more bullish and one slightly less bullish, one more bearish, the other one slightly less bearish. So to avoid getting wicked out, to avoid seeing your own structure fail temporarily and then play out, you want to keep that in mind. Like, what is the divergence between these? Which means just what's the difference, right? How bullish or bearish are they to one another? And right now, for example, NASDAQ has already filled the gap that it created between the gap from Friday to Sunday. So with the weekly open, we opened down here. NQ is already above this. So there's a pretty good chance, at least right now, that we're going to see NASDAQ get to this spike up before the other assets would. So S&P, for example, is nowhere near this gap yet. And also, it doesn't have the same setup. So look at NQ. NQ has this push up from right around, it seems like, New York open on Friday, whereas S&P doesn't really have the same thing. So we see more so liquidity over here. Oh, okay, yeah, so it's the same thing. SMT is the same thing then. Perfect. I didn't know there was already a thing on that. But yeah, exactly. So that's exactly the point. It looks like that's going to be the case. Maybe small time frame too, but definitely higher time frame. Now, there's a difference, though, on the small time frame. So let's look back at Friday's price action over here, and then we'll look at today's price action. So let me finish with this, and then we can dive into that. Dow, on the other hand, it looks a lot more efficient. Like, markets rebalanced. There's really not a lot of open orders over here. Everything seems to have mitigated and open. So we'll kind of see how things roll out. I'm not seeing a setup on the higher time frame with Dow from the past. So that now brings us to the present. And we're noticing that the structure that we're in right now, Dow is already starting to tackle on New York highs and London highs. Meanwhile, NASDAQ hasn't quite cleared London highs. So it's these are kind of going back and forth, right? We saw NASDAQ and S&P clear New York highs, whereas Dow hasn't. However, recently, Dow is starting to have more momentum and it's starting to take out the London highs, while S&P and NQ still haven't. So they're kind of going back and forth with price action. So we'll keep an eye out on that. And then what we'll do is this. I want you guys to look at where things have, like where we started to see the market push down and continue to rally to the upside. So we saw a huge push down here with NASDAQ, S&P, Dow Jones, and then the market has rallied since. So could there be a buy somewhere in between? Down here we see this is kind of like that last leg down, and then it's very choppy before it continues. It's with NASDAQ, S&P, and Dow. So typically when you see a smart money sell like this, it sells off and then rallies. Typically these are great places to buy. However, in this example, the market gets so choppy over here. Like, seems like there's a bit of liquidity that needs to be swept within this zone. Something's going on. Give me a second, guys. So something's a little slow here. All right, so yeah, big sweep down, choppiness. Honestly, the main thing is to wait and see how we work our way all the way down to these levels. So it's the same setups across the board. It's just a matter of patience. NQ or Dow probably are going to be the ones to play out here. So yeah, just give it some time. So we'll have alerts set around these areas. Now, I know the other setup that you guys might be looking at is within this choppy range that we're in right now. And you kind of see a push down before the market continues here with Dow. Similar situation with NQ. NQ, so during Asian session, you see it push down to here. Takes out some of this support. Not a whole bunch, but it gets into this imbalance before it starts to rally. So, man, what's up with this chart? Hold on, let me refresh this. Hello, everyone. Buenos dias. Good to see y'all. Yeah, something's up with this trading view. All right. 70% off. I guess it's a trading view deal. $7% off the ultimate plan. Okay, so what I'm getting at is NQ holds structure above previous highs. So I could see this playing out. I also see this failing because it's just within the structure. Like we have higher highs here, and then we have all of this imbalance. So sometimes the market likes to break below an area like this just to target the higher time frame imbalance. So not necessarily my favorite. Now, red folder news didn't do anything. So if we have, like was mentioned, if we have that divergence, let's say we have Dow cleared Tokyo lows, and we're seeing NQ stay within structure, then I think I could take this. Honestly, I would only take this with half R, despite having holding this structure here for 5 hours. Just because of this imbalance here, it's a little something's throwing me off with this, and it wasn't that we cleared up the most liquidity ever over here. So that's what I'm keeping in mind right now with indices. But let's see how this unfolds. From here, yesterday was, I would say, a little irritating, man. We had the NZD sell spiked us out before dropping to our target, which was a 5.25R. So it just spiked it out and then made the move. We also had our eyes on CAD futures, which actually stayed within this, like it actually played out perfectly. And this one was a little bit irritating because I moved my stops to here, and then this made equal highs and then tanked and played out for another 3.33R. And yesterday, if you go back to the recording, we were contemplating the shakeout setup between our different assets. And the yen is one I considered. I didn't take the yen. I went with 6C and 6N. And the yen also gave us the 4.63R that we were looking for as well. Oh, man, it finally got back to the zone. And it mitigated this down here. So beautiful price action across the board. So yeah, that's what we're seeing right now. And yesterday was awesome with metals. I don't know how many of you guys were able to take part of this, but there was a couple different ideas. I had the silver shakeout entry here, and this trade ended up running 2.74R. This was actually really, really sad though, because so I had my TP just right here. And so this was seconds away from hitting take profit, and then it just died like in front of me. I was like, oh cool, I'm about to hit TP, and then just gone, absolutely gone. Same thing here. So between gold clears the lows, rallies back up, trades over here, and then you're seeing it push through. I'm looking at this thinking this is about to sweep retail sellers up here. And then it was like 10 ticks away, and then it just dies. But what was cool about this idea was the following. Between gold and silver, gold is obviously bleeding out, and there was key things. There was a sell-off right there, swept liquidity, and then rallied. And then this was the Tokyo low right here. So silver had already just been bleeding out, cleared up tons of liquidity, filling the gap from the weekly open. So as soon as silver came in to fill this gap, which was the weekly open, and at the exact same time, we see gold take out those Tokyo lows and come into this smart money sell. I took a buy here, and then I rode this whole thing off. So yesterday, if you guys look at this post, I put this post here, which was, and this is earlier. This is in the morning after losing a couple times. I said, hey, this puts me at around minus 3R on the day and around minus 5R for the week. So far, not every day or week is sunshine and rainbows. It's critical you don't let what's recently happened trigger impulsive decisions. This is where the over-leveraging and the unnecessary re-entries come into play. This is where traders mostly say fuck it and throw a tantrum and full send their accounts. So you got to learn how to lose. You have to learn to trade your way out of some drawdown. So this doesn't even define the day, let alone the week. Here's the keyword. This doesn't define the day, let alone the week. Some transparency, because profitable trading doesn't mean you win every day or even every week. Cheers, folks. This, I was at negative 17,372.68. All right. We went that way. By the end of the day, let me see if I have the screenshot. By the end of the day, hold on. Where is this thing? Is this it? By the end of the day, here's where we ended up. Where is this thing? By the end of the day, I ended up 14,500. So complete turnaround with this. But that's just the beauty of trading. Like, not only did I end up making back what I had lost all day, but I ended up making back what I had lost all week. So that's really the beauty of trading. I mean, but you have to be able to just be committed. Like, that's just that simple, really. I just kept taking my setups. I wasn't concerned about the past. I wasn't concerned about really anything else like that. So it makes just a world of a difference when you can approach the market with a level head. You're not forcing anything. You're just trading your game. So yeah, let me just throw this in here. Hold on. That doesn't matter. All right. Morning. One Lambo. Yesterday I lost 948. Today up 1100. Exactly. That's exactly the mindset. And you have to remind yourself, like you want to be aware of these things. You want to see, like, oh wait, man, I actually had lost, but I just kept doing the right thing, and now I'm up on this. Oh, nice. Like, works in my favor. Sometimes we just forget that you're able to do just great trading. It might not happen in the moment you want it to, but over time it adds up. That's the beauty. That's why you document. That's why you journal. That's why you track. All right, metals. So, yeah, the buy played out cool. It was dope. The comeback, awesome. What we're seeing differently now between gold and silver is that silver is starting to make higher highs. So silver is trading a bit higher, and they're kind of going back and forth. So I want us to think about, okay, where's the key area for positions moving forward? So if I'm looking at gold, for example, gold hasn't quite given us a break above. So here's where we saw the market sell off from. Gold tries to fill this, doesn't quite do it, falls down, chops up. So we haven't quite gotten even a higher high on the 5-minute yet. We're still kind of just going back and forth with this. There's definitely tons of liquidity right now with gold over here. So a lot of retail sellers. And if anything, we have one move up here before it dropped. So, I mean, you can kind of look at this over here. Right over here, you see just one push to the upside before everything just bleeds out. So you actually see something like this. So you see a nice move over here. Yeah, the oil, man, I just I missed the oil buy, sadly. But I'll go over the oil buys here. So there's a possible sell over here. So I'll keep my eyes on that. We'll see how we get up to this level. But on the way there, right, before we work our way up here, we see another leg down before the rally. So you see a pretty nice move here. Another push down, and the market continue. So could this be a buying opportunity? Maybe. However, you have the Asian lows. And remember the divergence between the assets. So what's it going to be? If gold is more bearish than silver. So it's if gold gets to this zone before silver gets to this area, then wait it out. Let gold take out Tokyo lows, and maybe silver has a buying opportunity. Now, within all of this liquidity, we also see gold clear these highs, more resistance, take out the high, and then drop again. So you have something like this right now, where you have some retail money here. All right, so you got some money here. It takes the highs and then drops. But I want to see confirmation that we're bearish before looking for a sell. And also, we do just seem to have some trendline liquidity. So I'm not in love with selling gold up here. If we look over to silver now, silver, similar, but silver did start making higher highs. So we do finally end up sweeping all of these highs from that were building out yesterday during New York session. We fill into this imbalance over here, and then the market starts to distribute. So the big moves from yesterday, if you notice, gold pushes down here at around 8:30 p.m. Central, whereas silver doesn't do that. Silver doesn't have that same kind of move. It makes a massive spike down earlier. So you get big push down to here. Market rallies. Trades back into the zone. Plays out of the order block. Doesn't quite get down all the way to this low. So you see the massive sell-off right here. And even this, we get very close to equal lows over here. Not quite, but pretty damn close. So big sell out of here. When the market rejects this zone, I actually think that this is playing out of the order block and not the sell-off. So I think that this rejects the order block and not necessarily where we see this enormous push down. So I do feel like we could see silver work its way into this area, like 91.25. And yeah, I believe that this could be more of the opportunity. So after we broke above on the 5-minute time frame, so structure is bullish. We trade above this during Tokyo session, during London session. We get up over here for 6 hours. That to me is a good amount of proof that, okay, silver is looking to go and continue its bullish direction. We saw the way that it worked its way down to fill the gap. And then when we got the shakeout again, this is low demand. Market does not like staying here. So I do believe if we work our way back down with metals, an area around here makes a bit more sense. But in order to take a position here, I would want to see gold take these Tokyo lows. Yeah, gold would have to clear these lows, and then silver trading it within this imbalance. That would be essential. So we'll see. We'll see if the market ends up doing something like that. For now, it's more about, just kind of patience, waiting things out here. So that's metals. And then SI doesn't have the same equal lows as SIL. Okay, cool. What's up, Weaver? What it do? 91.92 on silver. I kind of see your point. I can see that. You see the market work its way down here, push into this, and then continue. I'll keep my eye on it. I see it. I can see the possibility. It'll come down to the same thing with gold. Like, if gold doesn't take out those lows, then I think I'll just wait it out. Like, maybe we do get a rejection out of here somewhere, maybe not. So it'll be a game of patience. What's up, Larry? It's good, Ramiro. Hello, everybody. Got gold. Nice. Okay. Now, oil. Oil was a beautiful setup. The original move here misses me by just a little bit. And then, so I saw this later on. And then I figured this would have already mitigated. So then I just didn't reevaluate. But the push down here was about 37 points. The mitigation, maybe I didn't do that. It was close, 34. Came down again and then played out of, a lower level of support. So last point of supply over here. So that would have been an even better entry. And then now it's rejecting super nice. So if this continues bullish, then we might actually have another, this could be forming a new setup in the future. But if not, let's say the market doesn't want to sustain price action where it is and it keeps going lower, I do have another zone that I like with oil. So this was the oil idea that I believe I shared this. I'm pretty sure I shared this yesterday. So something like this. And then this would be already, stops would already be adjusted to break even if I was in this, which I'm not. And so that's like the minimum that I feel like the market needed to reverse. Of course, the other setup that I have here, as we've been going over, is this lower zone. So we have another area here where oil sweeps the lows on Tuesday during London session, rebalances, and then rallies. So we also haven't quite made it down to here. So I'm going to have my alert here ready to go if we work our way into the zone. We've seen plenty of support in the past in these areas over here. So if you want an entry right around the open, obviously feel free. If you feel like this could work its way a little bit lower, whether it's, these levels of support in the past or even these levels of support in the past, then obviously there's more room for opportunity over here. But yeah, anywhere in this zone, I do think it's going to be a valid opportunity. But I'm going to set mine up over here. You see a little bit of support and a little bit of a push down, like right over here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger right around this area for oil buys. And then for take profit, really within the imbalance that it's creating, I'm okay with just kind of riding it out into this imbalance where we've seen some structure. So a little over a 4.5 R. I'm cool with it. Give me one sec, guys. But yeah, so let me know in the chat, what is it that you guys are looking to, like, what do you have your eyes on right now? What are you trading? What's on the lookout here? Got to log into the account real quick. Okay. What's the word? Buys in BTC. Natural gas sells shakeout. Yen sells. All right, let's go take a look at those. All right, so I'll go with Bitcoin first. So what I'll do is, let me share this first though. So here's how I want this to play out for you guys. Go make some money and then sell it back. Just, once you take your profit, it can push down to the entry that I want. Like that works for me. We're cool with that. Y'all cool with that? I'm cool with that. So all right, we got oil longs, so we're waiting for. So today's setups, January 22nd, 2026. Got oil longs. So this is CL. How many of you guys use the setups from here? Like you're looking back at them, and then I typically add notes in there. So like, you know, wait for correlation, wait for divergence. I try to update you guys with price actions when I can. You know, I'm not always in front of the screen. So I'm just doing my thing. Bro, Oyas is Zoom. No, that was yesterday. The Zoom was yesterday. Nance does Zooms at night. The syndicate, yeah, there's a Zoom for the syndicate at 8 p.m. So if you're in my, if you're in our like 1 year program, like for those of you that are like super serious and committed to that, then yeah, our session's at 8. But for the community, that was yesterday. Nance did she's going to be doing a series for traders that are new beginners. We have tons of stuff set up for that. So make sure if you're newer to trading that you're tuning into those that are for everyone in the community. And then London session, Michael and James, who are syndicate students, they are also hosting those. And then Neri does backtesting sessions on Saturdays at night. Okay. So oil, cool. I'll post that here in a second. Bitcoin buys. You know, I don't know. I don't know if I would pull the trigger on Bitcoin buys here. I'm assuming you're talking about all the way down here. Because, so Bitcoin, we saw a massive sell-off here, cleared the lows, and then we saw a kind of like a shakeout right here before the market rallied. But we don't get a break above, so we're not seeing a higher high. We're not seeing demand above the previous high. So one, that didn't happen. But two, typically, damn, give me a second, guys. Typically, I want to see if this is going to be a shakeout. You want to see the market rebalance, so fill the imbalance, not break above though. There's kind of less incentive. So, I'm not necessarily sold on this quite yet. ETH, and there's other signs, right? ETH broke above but failed. This is not holding bullish structure. So I think there's more incentive for sells than there is even for buys. So if anything, it seems to me like we just saw Bitcoin push up and take out a whole bunch of liquidity. It didn't break above London highs, but it took out a lot of consolidation here. So this looks more like a distribution. That's Bitcoin. If you look at this from a perspective with like ETH, it's just making lower highs. So yeah, I'd say keep your eye out in the market for sells. And Bitcoin, it's kind of cool because Bitcoin will show, it kind of shows what indices could do too oftentimes. So I do think we could come up to here and then sell off. Seems like there would be sales opportunities with the market. The only reason I could see maybe Bitcoin breaks above this briefly again and then drops is because of this trendline liquidity. So there is a lot of, actually there's not even a trendline liquidity here. That's not true. It already broke through some of that. So yeah, this looks more like a sell. I'd say pay attention to ETH as well. Yeah, keep that in mind. See how it comes together. Keep me in the loop if you're going to be tracking Bitcoin, drop a post, share it in the community just to keep people on the radar. Do I like natural gas sell shakeout? Let's take a look. Natural gas. Am I tripping? Oh, yeah. Here we go. Wow, what a breakout, man. No. It wouldn't be a shakeout. One, we already broke below the low. So we took the highs out, and then we broke below the 5-minute structure and the London session low. So we came down here, right back up, came right back down, right back up. So it doesn't seem like it wanted to stay pretty bearish. Yeah, I wouldn't really go for anything here. Natural gas right now, not giving me the textbook setups. This has been an insane run. Anyone who swing traded this, dear God, what a rip. This is so much movement. Like natural gas, this asset alone went up 80% in a week. That's unheard of. Yeah, we took swing position trades. This is the first like real position trade outside of like investing into metals, but like took this in like early 2024 from like under 2. Yeah, insane. So sick. Okay, let's work our way back. Actually, I know, Michael, you said something about the yen. Yen sells. Where do you see yen sells? What's up, Toby? Yeah, where do you see the sells here? I don't think I'm on the same page here. We're confirming bearish structure. So over here, okay. Up in this range. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess you see a little bit. It doesn't take out a ton of liquidity, but we do have this where it takes out the highs, works its way down, and then continues. So, okay, I could see that. We see a sweep of liquidity here on the way down, and then the market briefly breaks above. So not quite looking for buys yet either. I could see it here. This is kind of choppy in here. It comes back up into the imbalance and then drops again. So you do see something like this. I think this is what you're looking for. And then a trade in here. I think I would pull the trigger 0.063460. So like right around here. Keep an eye out on how this is moving. In the meantime, with the dollar pairs, really nothing interests me here. Okay. Working our way back to indices. So we've taken out London highs. We have New York open in less than 18 minutes. So we've now swept London highs up here. Took this out very quickly, worked our way back down. So this is our, here we see everything pull up. First move, we come back down to here briefly, work our way up again. Now we're starting to get below. However, as quickly as we work our way down, we're still coming up again. So I'm not necessarily looking for any ideas here yet. Dow Jones as well, still pushing forward. So let's zoom out again. Early on in the session, we approached this from a higher time frame perspective to get a good look at where the market could go. And we're definitely seeing Dow Jones now has effectively filled the gap It's trading into this area. We zoomed into the smaller time frames with Dow, and there really wasn't a idea over here. There wasn't a motive to sell for. Everything is pretty efficient. Whereas NASDAQ, on the other hand, does have this area here where it could sell out of. Now, this is the high from Friday's New York Open. So we would be shorting Friday's New York Open, whereas Dow, on the other hand, already traded into Friday's New York Open over here. So we already kind of traded over into that. Here we go. Dow, right? Dow had very efficient price action with New York Open. We already came back into here, dropped down. So Dow, in my opinion, looks like it already took care of business. It's doing its thing. So I think I'm going to wait for NQ and see if we can get all the way up to here before shorting anything. So this might be a day where I'm only taking NASDAQ sells, but this might happen towards the later part of the day. Never know. We might just have a ton of liquidity to kick things off. Like a whole bunch of money kicks off here to start New York Open. That's totally possible. So we'll see. CPI at 10 a.m. today. Is that new? Is that like a new update? Did I miss this? Oh, PCE. Oh, okay. That could be enough. Yeah, that could, help around. I was like CPI like at 10. Like what? Like who? Where? Keep this in mind though, guys. So for those of you that are looking at the yen, Michael, obviously, you basically have FOMC for the yen today. So be on the lookout for this. This happens later in the later into Asian session. So yeah, keep your eye out on what's going on here. How am I liking Tradefy? Dude, it's cool. Super cool. I'm very much happy with it. Yeah. No complaints. Yeah, there's not many of you I know that are trading the yen, but it's worth looking into. The volatility has been really good. The setups have been really solid. With the fact that, like, remember guys, the yen's economy is, dude, they're like, I think 35-year lows. If we look at, like, things are wilding over here. I mean, just look at this. Like, hold on. I can't even get down to here. This won't even show the past, but it's not looking great. Maybe USD/JPY, maybe one of these will show it. How far back? This won't even do it. This won't go as far back. I'd have to pull up something else. I don't even know if... Oh, here we go. Yeah, we haven't been in these areas. The yen hasn't been down this bad since like 1986. It's pretty wild. So just for some perspective, like, things can... I think there's a chance that things keep getting worse for the yen. So just got to keep playing it out. Cool. Sounds good, Toby. Swing of the century? Maybe. 1 second, y'all. All right, so let me log in here, just making sure some of this copy trader is good to go. If you're using copy traders, guys, my suggestion would be just always look and make sure everything's connected well, that just everything's good. Before your trading session, just don't assume everything's working the way it's supposed to be. You just have to sync up, etc. So always go ahead and double check that, all right? Where did... Oh, here's the chat. Title says January. Yeah, I'm in the past. 2026. All right, it has now been updated. Thanks for the heads up. Okay. So I don't know how exciting things are gonna be to kick things off for New York Open here in 10 minutes. I'm ready for it in case it is. In case we get this sell over here. So I'm actually going to mark this up on the micro chart so that I'm just ready to take this. MNQ. Up above like 25,830. So here's just so we can get the setup. I guess when I marked it up over here, I marked it up a little bit higher. I think this should be like right there though. Okay. And then we can go to the present. And then now it's like deciding, okay, well, where in the zone does the sell make the most sense? So I like taking positions within this area. Typically, you'll see like an order block within this imbalance. Or if we notice like, hey, there's a lot of resistance and support at like consistent levels. So here it kind of looks like 25,850, for example. It's rejected here so often. Could see a good reversal right out of this zone. So 25,850. Then I'll use that for the present. So just to be ready and have a good idea what a short like this could look like. And then from here, trading the outskirts, the extremes of this, more than likely, right, if we go up first and we don't start to clear liquidity and work into this, there could be quite a big, these can be very volatile, like just like you saw yesterday, you know, range so much, chop so much. These are volatile zones, so I'm open to this. So writing this down, even like down into this imbalance would be great. 7R all day. All day. So 500 per account. Actually, let's see. A little more. All right, that's okay. 507, I'm cool with. This would be a very nice trade. So we'll see how the market opens. Obviously, it's contingent on that, so it's dependent on that. If the NQ is just blasting off in here and everything else is really slow to the upside, then obviously I wouldn't go ahead and do that. But it looks like Dow is kind of leading towards the upsides a bit more. So it looks like NQ is a little bit slower on the way up. Let's see. All right, so that's indices. We'll come back to this. So 7 minutes till New York Open. So let's go check in with oil. Let's go check in with metals. Oil's still pushing higher. So for those of you still in oil, what's your exit, guys? I know we have the oil setup from yesterday here. Where are you guys looking to take profit here? Are you going to ride out the rest of this imbalance, maybe into this area, even higher, maybe rejecting where you saw previous New York low and imbalance over here? How are you guys approaching this idea? And for those of you that are watching and maybe you're new, maybe you're like still kind of figuring out trading, putting pieces together, take advantage of the resources that you're going to see at the bottom of the screen. There's that QR code on, I think it should be on the left side of your screen, where you have trading journals, you have, if you're getting new into futures, you have contract sizes to check out, like how that all works. The Smart Money Playbook, where you learn step by step all of the like courses that we have that come with its own playbook, basically its own like study guide to follow along with it. So make sure you use all of that. Asian high on oil. Oh wow, okay, you're like fully gonna send it. I can see it. I think it's possible. Yeah, I think maybe it's just personal. I'm like, I want it to come back for me. So that's how I have it. Yeah, 6150 fills the imbalance and enters the sell. Oh, you guys are ambitious with this one. All right, cool. I wish you guys the best. I hope it gets there for you. I think if I was in this, I would be taking it maybe max. I'd be conservative. Just, I don't know, something about this entry over here has me thinking that this can work its way down one more time today. All right, and then let's go check in with metals. So silver and gold slowly working their way higher. Real slow, just trying to grinding it up. Okay. Trailing stop loss with its structure. I'm not leaving without something. Smart way to go. That's the way to do it right there, for sure. All right. So with metals, I do have the possible opportunity here for a short on gold based out of the last push up we got before it just melted yesterday. I want to see how silver follows along. If silver, like if gold takes out London highs and trades up to here first, I'm not sure if I would still take it. Just kind of judging how silver's playing out right now. So I keep that open. All right, so NQ continuing some more bullish momentum. All the indices across the board are continuing to push higher. So yeah, we might just, I wonder if the open will just kind of send us up. Because I do need another over 100 points to get to the zone to sell NASDAQ right now. And this one's very, very clean. All right, just trading back to Friday's New York Open. The extremes. Now, when you look at this, if you look at NASDAQ from a higher time frame perspective, let me just remove this and remove this. We see how we've broken below these lows on the 4 hour. We're like, here's our 4 hour structure, right? This is the actual range. So we had a nice deep retracement down to these levels. When we've broken below previous lows, these are pretty short-lived every time. So market looks solid. Like overall, the market looks pretty healthy. Not necessarily needing for the market to go even lower. Maybe back down to these lows from yesterday, but that's about it. So, yeah, just patience really at this point. We have New York open here in 90 seconds, folks. 90 seconds. Stock market also looking good. Nance has been showing this. So this on a outside of the technicals, this looks like a solid company overall, like financially, market wise, like everything across the board looks pretty good. I think we can see a bounce out of this zone. There's potentially signs of liquidity here. So worst case scenario, I could see this break below. So I'd say maybe dollar cost averages would go into some drawdown. I say max 20%. But I do like this overall long term. I think we can see this go back up, and this would be an easy 100% growth. So, yeah. So this is one that Nance brought up. She was looking at them, and I'm like, yeah, this looks pretty solid. All right, 30 seconds out, guys. Get some water here real quick. Finish this up. Nothing like a shot of salt water and lemon in the morning, you know? Put some hair on your chest. Real hardcore. This sun is like reflecting off this window right now. The ops, man, they're trying to get me right now. They know that they need to blind me in order for us not to make money here. Without any milk, you know? Nails for breakfast. All right. So NQ dumping a bit to kick things off. And Dow is ripping. Like just pushing higher. Interesting. I wonder if NQ is going to want to, if it's going to liquidate this first to then make its next leg up. So this was brought up earlier. Yeah, Dow just sending it. NQ, so Dow Jones and NASDAQ today are to kick things off in inverse correlation. So they're moving in opposite directions. Whether NQ catches up and starts to ride with the momentum, that's possible. But sometimes if they're moving away from each other, one goes up, the other one goes down, and then they would play into a specific zone, you could typically play that out. So, for example, if an NQ were to play into this area here, right now, like let's say just it kept going downwards while Dow kept going upwards, these do have opportunity of playing out. So we'll see. Yeah, massive move over here. Yeah, Dow's sending it up into this range. So I don't like to sell the raging bull. I stay away from that. Majors are pushing higher, all of them across the board. Metals pushing higher as well. All right, so here we go. Metals kicking things off. Sending it up to here. Where's silver? Silver also pushing. Okay. A lot of momentum right now. Here's the thing between gold and silver, though. Like, gold is barely trading into Wednesday's New York, not even New York high, but the last push up. I think I'm still open to selling gold. Especially if silver takes out London highs over here. And gold plays into this zone. I could see this play out. I think I'll open up my stop a little bit, but I could see us having an opportunity here. So seeing a short like right there. Yeah, late ass alert. Okay, we're back. All right, welcome back, guys. Not sure what happened there. There we go. So basically what I'm saying was, like, I like the sell off on gold. I would want to see silver take out London highs first, but I think we're already maybe mitigating fully anyways. This was about a 78 tick move to the upside. If this thing drops, we'd have to drop down a bit more, actually. It'd have to drop down a bit more. But the reason I still like gold, despite it kind of having a bit more gas right now to the upside, is because this is still making, like, gold is still more bearish on the higher time frame. So this just wicked into it. If we keep dropping here, yeah, this mitigated it. So this played right at the open. GG, good game. This couldn't have gotten me in anyways. Had the right bias, had the right perspective, but it just wasn't going to play out today. But look at how quickly this started to drop very, very aggressively. Silver, not so much. So let me know in the chat, guys, what can happen now? What kind of opportunity could happen? Not that it will, not that it needs to, but what forms from here? What happens from here? Shakeout time. Shakeout time. See, yeah, you guys know the vibes. Oil took you out at 2R, 1R. Shake and bake, baby. Ricky Bobby time. Yes, okay. If, keyword, if, don't marry this, don't start to just go like, oh, I have to sell this now. If we can create liquidity, if the market starts to form, I don't know why I'm saying we, like, we're not doing shit here. If the market starts to form, lure in some buyers, right, build up stops below here, then we could see a sell opportunity here. But obviously, that's what I would need to see first. Right now, we're getting the textbook break retest, so this would have to lure in buyers for a bit longer. If it just bounces and continues back up, it's not really anything. That's not a trade for me, right? Then I wouldn't be selling this. But if we get like this, it comes back down, we kind of just start to dilly-dally over here, then sure, you can look for a short. Going over to indices here again, checking back in over here. We're seeing Dow still on its way up. and Q on its way down. So these are not on the same page. Caught that 2-minute imbalance sell on NAS. 2-minute imbalance sell. Like in here somewhere? Solid. All right, NQ pushing higher. And then Dow on the high time frame traded up into this imbalance. Okay. So like I told you guys, I'm not looking to short Dow Jones yet. It's been so bullish. Could it drop? Does it have a lot of room to drop? Of course it does. But doesn't mean that it needs to. No. So look at how gold came back. It did the retest. For me, there's no desire to sell this now at all. It's got too much momentum. So looking back at this area, we saw a lot of resistance build up here. I feel like there's a chance gold still might reject one more time up here, but I don't really want to risk on that. Like, based on the way that we reacted here, this kind of shows me that we already saw the exchange from buyers to sellers. That's an aggressive move. That's not just some random move. So that to me just symbolizes a smart money from buy to sell. So could we still reject up here? I feel like there is a small chance, but I don't love it since we already got such an aggressive reaction once. So, silver looks like it's going to take out London highs first now. Now silver's pushing more bullish. It's doing it faster. So at most, if I were to take something here, it would be very small. Not even half risk. It'd be like a quarter risk. So something like this. Yeah, it'd be tiny, you know, something just really small. Like, I don't know, 200 maybe. Something light. I could see that. We'll see. NASDAQ just swept consolidation. So throughout a lot of this London session, it was building up quite a bit of movement. So just took out those lows. And now starting to form possibly a shakeout here. This took out consolidation, not necessarily London or Tokyo lows, but we did sweep here. We had London, with gold, right? It took out the low here, starting to form bullish structure. So, yeah, this definitely could be forming buys. You have retail buyers throughout Asian session, London session. After that news event at 7:30, we see the push down. And then now we can start to see liquidity capture. This is forming or not structure. It's possible. Yeah, it's definitely possible. Going back to NASDAQ, NQ sweeps a lot of liquidity and then kind of comes right back in. So you see it when it works its way down. This, at this point, hasn't proven itself as bearish structure quite yet because of how quickly it came right back into the zone. And then we only really trade over here for the 3 or 4 minutes. So still not worth doing anything over here. No trades yet. Now Dow's like, all right, cool, I'm ready. Sayonara. So you're starting to see Dow work its way lower. And now these are all on the same page. So Dow, the last 3 minutes has been bearish, S&P, and NQ. So across the board. Now we're starting to witness synchronized movement across indices. Yeah, massive move. So the short on Dow came through in the imbalance, way up in where we've seen previous levels of supply. So resistance over here, imbalance over here, mitigation. Not my, actually the fact that we were, Dow and NQ are moving in opposite directions, I guess I could have taken a position there. Actually, you know what? Guys, if you remember, we had a setup. We had a sell setup in here actually. Back over when this was happening in real time. We had one up here, but it doesn't really matter. That's all in the past. The past doesn't do anything. It does not serve us right now. So now that we're seeing Dow work its way down, we're seeing S&P and NQ work its way down. They're all now moving in unison. This makes trading a lot easier because the divergence between the two gets simpler to follow. So I'm curious to see what happens over here. But let me give you, now let me go back. I know we're going back and forth between metals and gold and silver. Silver just took out London highs. So that's a massive liquidity capture for silver. And now gold has kind of been battling it out in this structure. So I'm not against this sell anymore. I'm willing to see this one through here. So I'm going to go for a little under a half hour trade over here. See if we can, maybe we just kind of wick into this, especially now that silver took out London highs. Honestly, there's a feeling that it's not even going to get that high, and it could just drop out of here. Now that, because silver needed to capture liquidity, right? Silver had to, eliminate positions, build up positions to be able to go lower. And we just got that. With silver getting above the London highs, now it can do that, and it can do what it's doing. And just like that, we're starting to see gold work its way down. Thank you. Appreciate you. So that might be it right here. So just like that, you have silver take out the high. Liquidity set. From here, now that you have that last push up to here, instantly loses momentum. So clearly there was no, buyers here were basically non-existent. Price came up here solely for liquidation purposes and comes right back down. So shorts seem likely here. But they have to be sustainable. Like, price has to be more sustainable over here in order for this to make sense. This is so the shakeout setup, there's 2 entry models that we trade. The shakeout is definitely way more in real time, context driven. You have to put pieces together. Whereas mitigation is very straightforward. It's very easy to spot. I'm going to have an alert if we clear these highs on gold. So at this point, looking at how the market's working its way down with indices, this NQ zone here doesn't make sense to buy this since it's dropping the most. It's the closest to the lows. So breaking that doesn't make any sense, to take that. You have what could play out now, which would be, in my opinion, what could make sense. Possibly a shakeout on Dow. Just seeing how aggressively this is coming and breaking, working its way down now. You could see maybe a short on NQ somewhere in here, takes out the London highs and then reverses. But buying NASDAQ seems to be the least likely to play out. And yeah, look at this. Silver chopping up and down here. A part of me thinks silver is just going to tank. But there's just, I don't have like, yes, we clear liquidity in the, all right, I think we're good. So yeah, there goes silver. There goes gold. Fuck. I had a feeling, man, as soon as silver took out those London highs, I was like, I think this thing is going to just start to tank. But it just, I didn't have the conviction to pull the trigger, to be honest. Like, my setup is just, I just slightly needed a bit more context, more detail to do it. So that's just like, that's the cost of having a system and not just trading whatever you feel like it. All right, so Dow finally starting to break back into New York highs, London highs. So we're starting to get back into here. And then you have NQ getting down to these levels, S&P getting over to here. S&P has a very easy setup. Like, this does look like, I think, Jay, you were talking about this in the chat. Yeah, this looks signature. I don't know if it's going to be like if this is the one that's going to give the best chance. We just have to pay attention to how the rest of the market moves. But yeah, I mean, it looks good. All right, so we got to push down. We're trading back up and down into this range. I'm going to delete all my ideas here on metals for now. This has mitigated, so this got the job done here. Silver clears the London highs, but despite it wanting to drop down, it kind of just keeps coming back and forth. So this is more consolidation. This is building up more buyers. So I guess, I mean, that part's true. Yeah, this is just very sloppy, very choppy. I feel like it can kind of just go either way. So you have to really be honest with yourself, and is this truly going to match your setup or not? So intuitively, it feels like we're going to see silver sell out of here. Here was it taking out London high. Market came back down. We chopped up in here. It came back into this zone, mitigated that. So at this point now, it's just squeezing. It's kind of like risk reward is good, right? You have a pretty tight stop for a potential, really good potential. But if it loses, would you be okay with that? If this trade were to take an L, would you be like, oh, well, you know what? That's fine. Like, I was 100% committed to the loss on here, and my probability was as good as it gets that it would play out. Those are just things that I think are important to consider, rather than just like, let me just take it, you know? But typically when I say like, hey, you should follow your plan, the trade plays out. All right, so indices still doing what indices are doing. Let's go take a look at oil. Oil came crashing back down, bouncing right back up. So a little bit more back and forth. Could this want to bring itself down to this area where I have the buys? Maybe. I don't think I sent this yet. Here we go. Yeah, this is a big, things got aggressive over here. So it came back down to this sell-off after trading up here for a little bit, not for too long. So if you didn't take a buy here, honestly, I get it. And this mitigated, came back down again. Oil's been a tricky one. Looks like gold is building up a lot of resistance here. It seems like it's going to push up one more time. So honestly, I think metals are worth just staying out of in terms for shorts, and just let a good clean setup unfold. The idea that makes sense right now is the buy on gold. The buy on gold is looking more and more likely to happen, especially now that we've been trading above this structure for the last 20 minutes or so. So I think that, yeah, this gold buy could end up playing out. So something over here. The longer that gold trades up there, the more likely this is to play out at some point. So here's gold. There's a couple different versions of opportunities on gold, but it's just going to depend. So let's share this one too. Gold. So say let bullish structure form before committing to the buy. Okay. Back to indices. Where are we at? All right, so yeah, the indices, man, still crashing. Don't force it though. Definitely don't force it. Nasdaq's gonna get down to these lows, so it's gonna get down to where the market pushed out of over here. It seems like before S&P, definitely before Dow. So buying NQ, again, not it. At least not for me. Y'all can do whatever you want. Gold and silver, just back and forth. Did anyone decide on shorting? Was anyone just like, you know what? I'm going to commit to the silver short and just say, fuck it. I'm in it. Let me know if you took this. I don't like when it does it like this. It is basically a shakeout, but it's just way too choppy, way too tight, not enough of a sweep high and commit to the low. So maybe this is another version of it that I just don't have enough data to be fully committed. And I mean, it did take out the London high, so I like that. And then it was staying below, so I also like that. I think this is one of those examples where it's like not perfect how you want it, but it's not necessarily wrong. So this is where I think with seeing more versions of this and then having the data in the future, I might pull the trigger on something like this. But typically what I want to see is, so for example, if this would have swept the high, came down, and then built up liquidity like this for a while, then spiked up to lure in more buyers, cool, I sell here, and then cool, I'm in this. But since this only just chopped up all the way into the imbalance, back and forth, it just didn't give the same type of, I didn't have the same type of confidence, same type of conviction here. Yeah, so maybe if this stays bearish here longer, cool, maybe I'll pull the trigger up here then. But it's going to be I'll have to just check in on that. All right. S&P working its way lower. Cool. We have news in 20 seconds, so I'm sure this will shake things up as well. This will be the next like catalyst. Like you get the ball rolling again. As soon as things are starting to settle, it's like, oh, news hits. The market can completely reshape itself, giving us a different option. I'm not looking to trade this, so I'm just going to delete that. All right, here comes news. NQ pushing lower, S&P and Dow. Gold crashed. Beautiful. So that would have been the best trade. And then now we're seeing gold work its way down. Played into the order block first, so you have this kind of movement. So if you guys took the trade, beautiful. Hope you took some profit or something. If not, and you stayed out like me, then you're chilling. We had gold reject order blocks first. I would say not quite where I would want to trade. And then this here would be a buy-in opportunity. Indices work their way down to that zone. Okay. Gold working its way lower. Silver already in that, sustaining in this order block. So it's right over here. This would have been a great take profit. So if you did take silver, TP set, and this is a nasty trade because of how tight the stop would have been. Right, stop would have been like this, and then the RR is fantastic into this range, 4.5 R, maybe even a 5 R. Beautiful. Damn, this is quick. So gold coming into the zone, rejecting very quickly. This might slowly work its way back down the second time. And honestly, this might even go and make higher highs because of all this liquidity that it leaves over here. Let's take a look at, while this is forming, I'm going to have another alert under this wick if we get back down there. And then what did oil do? Did oil go back up? Did it go back down? Oil, not too much movement with the dollar news. And then what about the majors? Pretty boring. Metals had the biggest influence. Yeah, metals got the most out of the volatility with this one, for sure. All right, cool. NQ still working its way further down. S&P and Dow starting to actually have a bit more bearish volatility. Well, NQ is kind of just chilling. Now, when you saw Dow make this break above this high and trade up here, would you guys consider this a higher high? Would you consider this to be the structure that's a strong bullish structure? Or does this tell you a different story? What do you think? What you think, mate? That ain't no higher high. Just sweeping liquidity. Perfect. Just took my first trades in the live funded account, caught the YM open buy and the reversal sell. Damn, Taylor, what are you on, bro? Give me some. Catching all one with YM. I was too exact. If only that was the case. Taylor, who'd you get your 100K with? Right, exactly. So yeah, no stable structure with this. So I don't like the buys on this. I feel like I'd rather want some sells somewhere instead. All right, gold. Expect metals volatility here. Remember, we're in very volatile ranges. Gold holding up structure much better than silver right now. So the buy on gold at this moment looks like it makes more sense. Indices, holding up a little bit. All right, let's take a look at, I'm going to just briefly here shift your attention. Let's take a look at, we know we were in the mindset of Bitcoin and if we could have opportunities in here somewhere. I like the Bitcoin shorts over here. You got fun with Apex? All right, so remember, Apex is equity-based drawdown. So if you go up into a lot of profit, trail your stop pretty well, because if, let's say you're up 3R and then the market reverses on you entirely, it's going to take your account balance high as what you were floating. So even if you didn't close it there, all right? You probably already know that, but I would just say, yeah, don't let, like, if you're a big wins, just don't give a whole bunch of it back if that's the case. Yeah. But nice. Good stuff, dude. Hell yeah. And then look at the fine print with Apex. They have all of these rules. Like, you can't lose in a trading day. I think you can't, like, go down 30% of your total trailing drawdown. Apex has just crazy ass rules. So just look at those before you're, like, you break a rule by accident, because they have, like, a whole bunch of terms and condition types of rules that they don't really advertise as much. Yeah, they got a whole bunch of bullshit. Nah, it's not even your max drawdown. Like, there's just all these other little ones, other little rules too. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on with them. It's chaotic. Okay, so yeah, keep your eyes on Bitcoin for those of you that participate. I'm curious if we're going to see a reversal once we take out Tokyo lows here with NQ. I wonder where that places Dow, because you do have, you kind of have a nice little drop right there. Like, you got a little move, some motion over here. Might get a little rejection. I'm going to wrap this session up here shortly. I'm not going to stay on for too long. But those of you that are still holding Intel, I hope you are having a great time right now. We're still holding this. We're up about 150, 160% on this. The next target is upwards towards 60 over here. Lucid had a very nice jump yesterday. So those of you that took this Hail Mary position with Lucid, finally jumped a good amount. Webull still hovering around $8. For those of you that, let's say you want to get something that's ranging, so like Snapchat chops up and down like 15-20% over the course of like every week or two. So that's one that's more of like almost like trading, if you will. UPS killing it right now. We got involved here way back over here with UPS. So UPS now sitting at about 30%. Our exit here is at about 130. So we got more to run. UPS Chipotle is playing out beautifully. So Chipotle, we're sitting at about 30% as well. Chipotle exits are at 60, so we got another $20 more to go. Lulu, after that nice drop here, starting to recover a little bit. So what else we got? All right, Netflix entries are at the very peak bottom, at the bottom, not the peak. So at the valley of this area. The other zone that I am curious about would be way down here. Netflix is one that long term I'm not too concerned about. So I'm okay with just dollar cost averaging into Netflix. And then ENPH, this one took a while, guys. But if you hung in there, you should be sitting in some decent profits with this. 10, 20% averaged in around these areas. So if you've been getting into solar, these have been squeezing for a long time. So this, I think, is going to break out here pretty soon and just go on an absolute rocket. Yeah, they've been going crazy with the Netflix, Warner Brothers, Paramount situation is interesting. They're going back and forth. So Paramount kind of tried to sneak in there and do a hostile takeover. Didn't work. Where are y'all buying these stocks on? It just depends. I think easiest way to do it is with Robinhood or with Webull. If you have like under 25K, I think you could go with either of those. I think Webull is I trust Webull more. After that, if you're like 25K and above in stocks, I would say working with like Charles Schwab or Interactive Brokers, IKBR. Wait, IRBK? Whatever. Interactive Brokers, the IRBK. Then, you can do that. You could also do, if you want it easier, it's not like if you want to have your automated savings and that, then you can do it on Wealthfront. Like they're like a high yield savings. But the downside with them is that they've been lowering their high yield saving percentages quite a bit. So, you don't have to be fixed and married to any of these businesses. They're all businesses. So if you have to move your money around sometimes, like, do it. They're like no loyalty to these businesses. Like, they're fucking banks. They're brokers. Like, their goal is to make money, and yours should be too. If anything, like, you have leverage, so you can say, hey, I'm going to move all my money, and maybe you get something out of that. Maybe they give you a sweeter deal. All right, yeah, guys, I mean, not really much else I'm going to do here. The setup that I think is most likely to happen first looks like it can be oil. So oil looks pretty choppy. I feel like we're going to get a breakout here soon, a break below. And I already sent this out over here. So take a look at oil for buys in the extremes over here. And then this is looking like a really nice reaccumulation. So oil working its way over to here. I think we can get a pretty nice move. And then that might be the next leg up. Where's the best place for a high yield? Honestly, how much is Coinbase giving for USDC? I think it was like 6% or 5% or something. So it depends on if you want to have like just dollars or stable. I guess it's up to you. I know now USDC is 3.5%. It's kind of like that everywhere right now. I'd have to look around. Amex, how much is it? Amex might be doing 3.75 for high yield. They have a high yield. Yeah. So I mean, you could do something like that for now. What about savings? Isn't that what we're talking about? High yield savings? Yeah. Yeah. So I think Wealthfront's 3.5.
But with Wealthfront, you at least have the opportunity to like increase quarterly. Like, if you refer people.
Oh yeah. I think with Wealthfront, if you like refer someone to their program, they give you like an extra 0.5% or something for 3 months. But yeah, would I break down my signature setup if it isn't too much to ask for? Right now, no, I'm gonna dip, but I got you tomorrow. Tomorrow I can do that. Walk through, if you haven't already, just go through the classroom. I mean, I break it down right here. Smart Money Playbook, and then go through the technical analysis, the double-edged sword section. This right here, I walk them through pretty well. And then they're also in the playbook itself, and you can see it through. But yeah, the course reward. You no longer, if you guys have credits for the syndicate program, for our 1-year program, this is all about getting you from wherever you are right now to actually getting payouts. If you still have these, I already like canceled this program, but if you still have them and you want to take advantage, book the call today. Like, I forgot this is on here. I didn't realize I didn't delete this. So if you do still have credits and you have been wanting to do the syndicate and you're committed, I will approve them as long as you book the call today, because I am going to delete these. I didn't realize they were still on here. This has been here for the last like 8 months for you guys to get $2,000 off the program. So take advantage, because if you haven't done it yet, then you just are not going to make that decision, and you want to learn the way you want to learn, which is totally cool. But yeah, this was more so for the first, kind of like the first movers, people that locked in with us right when we launched and stuff. So yeah, go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and delete delete these here today. I didn't notice they were still on there. But yeah, guys, thanks for being on today. Didn't take anything. We could have had the silver sell or the gold sell. The gold didn't trigger us in by just a little bit, which was unfortunate. And then silver just wasn't exactly textbook, so didn't take it. That would have been a very beautiful short. But otherwise, remember, to become a great trader, you have to be able to be okay with just not being in the market sometimes and waiting for the exact setup that you want. So thanks for hopping on, guys. We'll be live again tomorrow. Tomorrow we have no news, so we'll be live just at the normal time. So live at 8 a.m. Central tomorrow. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Peace.